Brodes Media.
What a beautiful win for your Sixers. James Harden, 45 points. But they gave up Andre Drummond, Brodes. But they gave up Seth Curry, Brodes. What are the Sixers going to do without their role players? I don't know, maybe get a star. If I'm just spitballing here, maybe get someone who can dominate. Maybe get a superstar. Maybe get one of the best players to ever live. Someone who can hold the fort down when you don't have Embiid on the road in a crucial series. Now, I'm not taking this win for granted. If I'm the Sixers and I can get Embiid out there on Wednesday for Game 2, I'm not playing around. I don't look at this like a leisure thing, and now we just bought more time. Now, I don't know how bad the knee is. I feel it's definitely not good. The fact that he missed Game 1 surprised me. So, I do trust that they would do it with the best thought in mind. But if he can go, we can't be playing this 1 foot in, 1 foot out game because they already got a win in Boston. I want to attack this team and keep going. They are a very beatable bunch. Rich Hoffman said this to me today, and my eyes lit up when he laid it out perfectly. Not that he was breaking any news, but when you watched Atlanta battle, and you watched them go to war with Boston to force them to 6 games, and let's be honest, it was somewhat of a coin flip towards the back stretch of Game 6. The Sixers have way better talent to work with than the Atlanta Hawks. If that's what the Hawks could do, the Sixers have every opportunity. I can't believe when the Celtics shot 74% from the floor, it's a 3-point basketball game at half. Melton and Harden kept you involved. You watch Boston with the drop coverage. I think it's hysterical because you have the switch after the drop coverage with Al Horford on James Harden at the end of the game, and it's money, baby! It's money! It's vintage primetime James Harden. That was unbelievable. And look, I knew that Melton could play ball. I didn't know that I could count on him to make those level of shots, to score that dangerously. And this is dating back to what we saw at the end of that Brooklyn Nets series, too. So he did it against Brooklyn, and now he's doing it in a tough environment in the TD Garden against one of our most hated, biggest rivals. But the Sixers did what they needed to. They stayed in the game. They were in closing distance throughout the entire time. Even when it felt like Boston had enough and the separation was getting bigger, the crowd started to get into it, Doc Rivers maybe had to call a timeout. Let's go right to when Al Horford got the big offensive rebound. The Celtics on one possession got 2 huge boards, and it just feels like it's snagging it right from you. Irritating. The team didn't play perfect. Maxey defensively is a problem. He needs to hit the weight room. He had a better day at the office compared to what we are used to seeing against Boston. Specifically third quarter. There were some shots he missed in the fourth, but definitely a step in the right direction. He's still going through the big growing process. I'm going to say the same exact thing I'm saying about Maxey as I did with Embiid. You have to learn how to win at this time of the year in this league. And it's tough and difficult for Maxey because on where the team is, and it's go mode with Joel and James Harden, and there's really no time to get the experience. It's now. The time is now. You just have to do it. You're getting thrown into the fire. That's what happens when you get drafted by a good organization. So when there was the handful of times where it felt the Celtics were grabbing it, it felt like a game where we go, brilliant effort, proud of the shorthanded response from the bad news that Joel Embiid won't be available, and then you feel robbed that you don't have your big man and the leading scorer of the league. and your MVP. Did you see the points in the paint disparity? They targeted that area, and they were making easy shots. You have to clean some of that up, for sure. I saw things from Paul Reed I despised early on. Then there were some things later on in the game that I enjoyed. His free throws were so crucial. Paul Reed, the team barely got fouled. They were barely getting to the free throw line. Paul Reed steps in and has 2 sets of free throws and delivers on both of them. And it wasn't any fluky nonsense where the ball hits the back iron and rolls around the rim and then falls through. It was nothing but net. It was money. Your players made enough plays, but I think it's important to note that I think as a fan base, we can all acknowledge that it felt like a game that was going down a path of we respect the hard work and we respect what they did down their MVP. And you just know it's a hard ask. But they flipped that narrative in the middle of that fourth quarter when James Harden is continuing his outrageous scoring. And Paul Reed's doing his thing. And the team made enough plays. The defensive possession where Boston's passing the ball around, then they pass it backwards. Tyrese Maxey takes it all the way, all alone, puts it in. Sixers are up. They needed to do something that possession. They did something that possession. And the Celtics threw the ball away. Pounce. But you earned that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm not surprised. You had to deal with adversity. The call on James Harden, offensive foul, when Al Horford jumps up and he's in midair, fouling Harden, obviously, as he's going to the rack. How about James Harden scoring? You're talking about the first handful of possessions for him. It's 2-pointers, and there's been a lot of times where he'd miss bunnies. Wide open shots, a couple feet from the basket. It was horrible. You knew it would be a great day when those went in. Like, all right, we're getting this James Harden. He was in his bag. And I love the fact, too, that he knew from the beginning, it's on me. I acknowledge that I have to be the one to take over. This is my team right now. I'm going to need help, but it starts with me, and I need to go get 45, and I got to produce. How about the pass to Tobias Harris when Tobias Harris was left wide open at the top of the three-point line? Bang! Toby! Playoff Toby! When needed, there! Monster 3. But that pass from James Harden was stellar. Driving to the rack and kicking it back out. He knew what he had to do, and he executed it.